We read in the Parsha how Paro had appointed taskmasters to oversee the Jews, to enslave them, and to afflict them. And what was the task that was given to them? Vayivein Ori Miskanos, the Pharaoh has peace of Ramses. They were given cities to fortify, the cities of Pisum and Ramses. They needed fortification. So they had to rebuild these cities. And then the next verse says, next posuk, Kashayanu also Ken Yirbev Ken Yifrots. And as they afflicted them, they increased the number and they were teamed. Vayakutsu b'nei b'nei Yisrael. The Egyptians, they were disgusted with themselves because it was an issue which was totally out of hand, out of control. So there's a Maral in the Vurs Hashem, the Maral of Prague explains what was the argument between Paro and Bnei Yisrael and the Jewish people. Paro had understood that the Jewish people are no different than any other nation in the world. We're physical people. And how does one quantify a person? Based on his accomplishments. You are what you accomplish. That's what your essence is. So what did he do? He says you will fortify Pisum and Ramses. And that is your ability, and that's how you're quantified. That's how you're identified through your action. So Medrash tells us, there's an argument, what exactly happened when they finished refurbishing, rebuilding Pisum and Ramses. One opinion is, in the Midrash, that it crumbled. Totally shattered and crumpled to nothing. The other opinion is that it actually sank into the earth and it disappeared. Meaning, as much as Paro tried to prove his point, it was futile. Meaning, Klal Yisrael cannot be quantified at all. So what are we? What's the difference between us and the nations of the world? The nations of the world, the essence is physical, and that's how they're quantified. Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, our essence is spiritual, and we only exist within a physical context. And the objective of our existence is to sanctify and to facilitate spirituality and Kedusha through the physical world. That's what the Jew is. What is an example of this? The Mishnah tells us that one of the miracles which took place in the Beis Hamikdash was on Yom Kippur. It was Omdin Tzfufim Umshtachvim Revochim. The Jews, they were all in the sanctuary of the Beis Hamikdash, and the Jews, they were standing, actually squeezed together. Tzfufim. There wasn't room. They were so pressed together, a person would lift up his feet, he wouldn't fall to the ground. But yet, when they heard the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, pronounce the name of Hashem, and they would prostrate themselves, there was sufficient room for prostration. This was a miracle. How did it happen? Physically, there's limitation. It's a finite location. But yet, there was sufficient room to prostrate themselves. And we understand the walls did not expand themselves. The answer is, although it's a physical location, what is the context of the location? The context of the location is spiritual. The difference between spiritual and physical is finite. Physical could be quantified. Anything in the spiritual realm cannot be quantified. Why? Because the spiritual realm, which is associated with Hashem, with God, who's infinite, they take on that semblance of that characteristic, of that profile. Klal Yisrael is the Am Hashem. We are that. We have a different soul than the nations of the world. Our soul is a different dimension of soul. And therefore, the body is only to facilitate the mission of the soul. Therefore, it cannot be quantified. We find that David HaMelech was punished for counting the Jewish people, for Klal Yisrael. He wanted a census. And the Ramban explains at the beginning of Parshas Bamidbar that, of course, he understood what even a school child understands. We don't count Jews unless we use a medium. Machzah shekel, or some other medium to count us. What was the mistake he made? Because Hashem said, T'Avram Avinu lo Yisaf mirov. The Jews cannot be counted because of their enormous number, because of their numerous. We're not supposed to be quantified. But the question is, what exactly is the provision? The essence of the Jewish people is not valued by quantitative, but it's qualitative. The Klal Yisrael has always been the smallest nation in the world, always. The smallest number. But yet, we weathered every storm. We're an eternal people. Because our number is irrelevant. Our number means nothing. Our essence is because of our relationship and our attachment to Hashem. That's the essence of the Jew. Therefore, that's eternal. As Hashem is eternal, the Jew is eternal. For the same reason. The number is irrelevant. Number is only relevant if you play in the physical world. Your value is the physical. You're quantified through the physical. The Jew is not quantified through the physical. The physical is only a means to accommodate. Asay toroscha keva l'rachcha rai. Chazal tell us. Your learning, your Torah study should be primary. The work is only secondary. That's only because it's only to facilitate the what? The spirituality. Why does Mullen, why does he rejoice when he goes out for commerce? Because that's to facilitate the learning of Yisachar. Only because there's that linkage between the material and physical, that the physical takes on any degree of value.
Sure.